More pets? More pets.
Hey everybody, it's Luke here, and I'm joined by Nirav.
Yeah, that was sort of a crazy flair you did on the name, but yeah, that's me.
I don't know why I said it like that. Anyway, we've both been playing a lot of Hades recently since it came out. It's had its full release because it started off as an early access game in like 2018.
Yeah, it was late 2018. It was like early 2019 basically. It jumped out as an early access game and on the Epic Games Store only. And yeah, it was like kind of I don't know. I remember when I first looked at it, I was like, I wonder why this needs to be early access. And I mean, now looking back at it, I totally get it. But yeah, I don't know. It's funny like seeing that it's been out for so long, and I really haven't seen many people talk about it at all. And then like when it like released the 1.0 version, like it blew up.
Yeah, like I heard whispers here and there, but when they suddenly came out with the full version and released it on Switch, it was just dominating my timeline. So I was like, okay, I've got to check this thing out and see why everyone's talking about it. And it's like, wow, this game is actually incredible. This is amazing. So let's start off. How many escapes have you made so far?
I've only done 2 so far. I managed with the bow and arrow was my first one, and then I made it out with the shield like very recently. I think that by like eventually, like I do consider I've already beaten the game, but like I do want to make it out with each of the weapons at least once eventually.
Yeah. So far, I've made 4.
Oh, okay.
3 times with the Stygian blade and once with the bow. But I came very close with the shield one time.
The shield, I think, is the most fun, but is also not the most effective one.
Yeah, it feels like it's a bit underpowered. Like, the throw's really cool, and especially if you start stacking status effects on it, that can be pretty good.
Right.
But, like, my best success so far has been coming up with very broken Stygian blade builds that involve overpowering the special attack. But we'll get into builds and stuff later. Let's start off by talking about the characters and the story then. So you said you like Greek mythology.
Yeah, I love Greek mythology, and I mean specifically also like the Percy Jackson books are some of my favorites. I have read all of them multiple times and am super psyched for that the new show to hopefully be really good. But yeah, that's like one of the things actually I saw is that the Supergiant Games actually cited Percy Jackson as one of their main influences for putting this together. So, which I definitely see, like the idea of like, I don't know, these gods have like so much character, I guess.
Yeah, I love the writing in this game. All these characters are so much fun to listen to them like talking to each other.
It's strange. It's like almost I don't know, like the coolest thing about them is that they all seem like real and like flawed humans, like, you know, like the Greek myths are kind of supposed to be. Like they don't seem like these astral, celestial, unknowable creatures. They just are like, this is just a guy who does like throws lightning, you know?
Like, wait, before we start mentioning them by name, I'm just going to preemptively say I'm terrible at the pronunciation. I'm going to butcher so many Greek god names.
Okay,
so feel free to correct me when I get them wrong.
I definitely will.
But yeah, like I just really enjoy a lot of the dialogue, and because it's procedurally generated, the thing that surprised me is I don't think I've seen any repeating dialogue yet.
I haven't either. I've been keeping an eye out. I'm surprised.
They must have written so much, because like every time I pass through House of Hades, there's been different lines for Hades, for Achilles, for whoever I talk to in there, and of course every time we pass through the House of Hades, you have to pet Cerberus.
Oh yeah,
it's the law.
It is the law. I actually think I saw somewhere that they recorded 10,000 separate voice lines for this game.
Yeah.
Which is pretty incredible for even that's like what you would see from like an open world RPG kind of a game, you know, like it's a lot of lines. So for something like this, that's pretty crazy.
So like it's really impressive to me that it doesn't feel like the game is repeating itself, despite the fact that that's kind of the central structure of the game, is to keep trying to escape over and over again.
Yeah, I do want to give a shout out quickly to the voice actors though, because like this is some of the best voice acting I've heard in a game this whole year.
Yeah,
like,
everyone's like so good.
I was just gonna say, like, I even specifically, like, you know, everyone from Zagreus, like the main character, to like all of the the gods, like they all have their own personality, like built into their voice almost. Like I can like tell so much about someone by meeting them, and like, you know, kind of their station and like where they are in the hierarchy of Greek myths and everything, you know.
Yeah, I like any conversation. Right, I hate him, but I love his dialogue. It's Theseus at the end of Elysium.
You! There is no greater pleasure in Elysium than vanquishing the likes of you.
That'll do.
Yeah.
he's the worst. He's like just such an asshole, but at the same time, he's so perfectly written to be that asshole. It's like his dialogue. I'm like, I can't wait to fuck you up every time I walk into that room and start talking to him.
It's so like funny to me to watch to fight him, like, because like the absurdity of him having like teamed up with the Minotaur is like so funny to me.
I think that's probably the hardest fight in the game. I think boss fight wise, that's the one I always struggle with the most.
Yeah, I had a weird situation with Theseus where like the first time I got to him, I actually had a spare life, and so I made it through him the first time. And then like the next 9 times after that, he like wrecked me and tore through my lives. He's rough.
We will be talking about like voice and stuff, but also the art design, like the character
Yes.
design for every character is so good.
Yeah.
Like, everyone just has you get a sense of personality just from their art design alone.
Yeah, it's very like it's very inspired by like you know, like ancient Greek pottery. Like if you remember from like the Disney Hercules, like all the pottery art stuff they did, like it's very much in that vibe, which I love. But like they added so much color, I think, to this that like I think a lot of dungeon crawlers are missing like the vivid colors and stuff like this, and that's what makes like none of these rooms feel like very tired. Like you're not like trapped in the same place over and over again. Like they are just like so overboard with their use of color, which I love in games.
Yeah, and like each world has a different feel to it. I mean, like even down to like structure in places. Like Tartarus is pretty basic and just sort of getting warmed up, I guess. And then you move into Asphodel, where you've got lava, traps, so you have to really pay attention to where you're positioning and moving around. And then Elysium's filled with even more traps, and usually you have 2 doors to choose from, and then the House of Styx is just completely different in the entire structure.
Godforsaken chaos.
The thing I really hate, though, in the art design is just all the gods look so fuckable. I hate it.
Oh yeah, and I mean that's intentional.
They're all far too beautiful.
They're all like so beautiful, and it makes me like, I stop and I think, I'm like, no, I gotta go. And then I'm like,
yeah, I'm not gonna stay here too long.
Yeah, but I think I saw like a list like ranking them by hotness. I think Dionysus is probably at the top. But Nyx is like a very close second, which is bothersome because she's like your mom.
Yeah. Well, technically
she's like your adopted. She's like your adopted.
She's your adopted mom.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that still doesn't make it better, does it?
No, but I mean, I guess it'll fit in nicely with all the other.
It is Hades and Hell and stuff, I guess. So.
Yeah, it'll fit in nicely with all the Greek mythology stuff as far as, you know, who's hooking up, honestly.
Moving on. So the one last thing I say about the characters is that I love how Hades is just perpetually sick of Zagreus' shit. Like every time you walk in from you respawn, you walk in and he's just like, "Why are you still doing this? Why are you still trying to escape?"
Hades has such an interesting character to him because like at first like at first when I meet him, I'm thinking like, why does this guy like care if I even escape? You know, and like Zagreus keeps asking the same question, like, why are you trying to stop me so badly? And like, I think that from like more and more interactions with Hades, it's like kind of there is this thing in him that like he is insecure about like how bad of a father he is, you know, and like he doesn't like that he's such a bad father that his own son has to keep dying to get away from him, you know, if that makes sense. And I don't know, I think there's a really interesting struggle going on with that character that I didn't really expect, because like Hades is more than often in stories made out to just kind of be the bad guy without a lot of nuance.
But like a lot of it is I really like how story seems to progress after every run. Like the one that stuck out to me most is Orpheus and Eurydice, if that's how you say them.
Yeah, Eurydice.
Eurydice, and how like you'll have like stuff from like Orpheus and like, if you see her out there, do this, and you keep going back and forth for long enough, and then at some point I just respawned in the House of Hades and he was singing, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And like that came as a genuine shock to me, and I was like, oh, this is like really cool how they're doing story through randomness, essentially.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like, I think the main thing that makes this different from other roguelikes is that, like, dying isn't really, like, setting you back at all. Like, you are, every time you die, you're progressing the story. And so, like, it's, I don't know, like, I never felt like dying was always, like, fun, you know, almost in a way. Like, I never felt like, oh, fuck, I have to go back. Like, I would be like, oh, come on, you know, and then I would just get right back at it, you know?
Yeah, like I've had that even to the point of where I got to the very last boss fight, died, and I just thought, fuck. And I was like, well, okay, this is what I think I was doing wrong. These were the problems with my build.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've never felt like I've been killed over bullshit reasons. I've always felt like I died for a fair reason.
Except for the poison rats.
Yeah, the poison rats can fuck off. I hate those.
I was doing a run like 2 days ago or something, and I had 4 lives walking into the temple, and I lost all of them to the poison rats just in like fucking god.
That's why it's good to. That's why I think when I have builds where like the bow, when you have the auto fire,
yes,
where you trade off power shooting for auto fire, that just murders those rats because it just stops them, basically locks them in place as you hammer the shit out of them.
I love with the bow, like I think I got like it's called like Hera's Blessing or something like that, where it like every time you use your cast, instead of like throwing it out, you like lock it into your next arrow, which has been that's been why the bow has become my main weapon, is because like just pairing it with that and like loading shit up into the bow and like basically like you can fire like 4 casts at a time like into a boss and like do a shit ton of damage to them, you know? It works great.
Yeah, I think that's been my biggest crime in Hades so far, is I haven't been using the cast.
How have you not been using the cast?
I don't know, but I haven't. Like I've just like the first time I escaped was because I had I was using the Stygian blade. I had my special just absolutely ridiculously overpowered, so that every time it hit twice, and it was doing 300% damage per hit.
Wow.
And I absolutely melted Hades with it on my land fighters. Like that was the last fight, and I just crushed him. I dropped 1 death defy during it. I still had 1 left.
Damn.
And that was my first escape ever, and I was so happy. I literally was screaming with joy.
I think I felt a tear drop from my eye when I made my first escape. Do you know how many attempts it took you to get out? Like, cause mine was absurdly high.
I think I was in the 30s when I landed my first escape.
Yeah, like I think I was kind of weird in that, like, so I first of all I escaped on attempt 42, but and I was actually like very long into the game. I think I was like 15 or 16 hours into the game at that point. But I guess the reason is because like the first like 10 or 15 of them I was trying to escape, and then after that I realized like how like woefully underpowered I was, and I was just like, I'm just gonna grind for like 10 hours. And so I kind of like started doing runs with no intention of getting to the end, where I would just get as much darkness as I possibly could. And I did that for like 20 runs in a row, and I actually maxed out my skill tree, by the way. I filled out everything on there in the mirror.
I think I've filled out like some of it, the stuff I am using, but I'm building up darkness and I'm just trying to max out everything on the mirror.
Yeah.
I haven't done that yet, but...
So once I did once I did start doing real runs, like, and I did build out everything on the mirror, I think it was my 4th try that I was able to get out, so...
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and then, I don't know, this game has also sort of made me feel bad, because, like, I have a friend that beat it in, just beat it in, like, 5 hours, and they did it on, like, their, like, 12th run.
Yeah. I have the opposite. I have a friend who deliberately taunts me over how good he is at roguelikes. I was chatting to him yesterday, and he just, out of nowhere, just went, oh, Luke, I just did my 5th escape in a row, and I just went, fuck you! Like, I've got 4, I've maybe done 2 in a row is my best. Why do you have to be like this?
It's, yeah, come on. I think one thing I want to do, like, I do want to talk about is, like, how cool this has been because of, its appeal to people who don't like roguelikes, such as me. Like, I have tried a lot of roguelikes, and I spent half an hour on it, and I'm like, what? No, this is bad.
Yeah, no, I'm totally saying the only other roguelike I felt like I put a fair bit of time into was Crypt of the Necrodancer.
I've played a good amount of Cadence of Hyrule, which is, you know, just the same thing, but, yeah, that... Oh, and then, I mean, I guess, like, technically Prey's DLC Mooncrash is a roguelike, which is... But it's done in such a cool, inventive way that, like... there are not a lot of, like, first-person shooter roguelikes, so, I mean, that was a new experience, but, Yeah, no, it's a really cool thing, and I love that it's had such wide appeal. Like, even I've seen people saying like, oh, like I thought Spelunky 2 was gonna be the roguelike this year, and it's not. Too bad.
Like I said, I'm also the same. I don't have much experience in roguelikes. So I don't know how often death is or like how it's seen other than a common thing, but I feel like Hades does a good job of not punishing you for dying. Or like there's rewards there, like in how the story progresses, the new conversations that open up with characters. Dying doesn't feel like a chore. It feels like it's, you know, the game knocks you down, but you get back up, and doesn't feel like that big of a deal to me.
Right. The key to me is that like all of the deaths are canonical. It's not resetting anything. Like when you die, the story just continues onwards, and you're just like, okay, like I'm gonna die many times.
Like you'll walk in and Hypnos will make a comment about what killed you.
Right. It's in a weird way.
Funny.
In a weird way, like the game like normalizes dying in video games, which is something that like my other big game I think I would say that does that is Celeste. Like, you know, where they make a point of like, it's like a point of pride in Celeste, like how many times you've died in each room. It's like the developers are like, oh, you didn't die 20 times in this room. You thought of 20 different solutions for this, and that's something to celebrate.
Yeah, or like how there's repeated dialogue when you fight bosses again.
Yeah, but like in this game, I think I recommend it for even people who are like, I know it sounds off-putting at first to like have to do the entire game over every time you die, but like, first of all, I will say there are resurrections and you can get lives, so you can get up to 4 lives, depending on how you stat your character. So when you die, it's not like the end of the road. You can.
It's also got like a god mode that makes the game significantly easier if you just want to see the story stuff. So
yeah, but it also doesn't make the game so easy that it's not like enjoyable. Like it just like kind of adds it so that basically you get like a tiny bit of damage resistance every time you die, and like it adds up over time. But like you do get a little bit better each time. So
yeah,
I think. But
they put stuff there to accommodate for people that don't want the difficulty, and I think it's great that they do that.
Yeah, like for sure, because so many times games like for their like quote unquote easy mode will just like make all the enemies weaker and make like damage less, you know, and it's like it's really cool that they were able to come up with something like this where it doesn't compromise the integrity of the game design in any way, you know, like. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. I think that like this is really cool for accessibility and stuff like that, and yeah, I don't know, like I think literally I don't know, I don't say this about a lot of games. I do think like pretty much literally anyone can find something to enjoy with this one.
Yeah, it's got everything. It's got fun characters and great dialogue. Art style's really great. Soundtrack's awesome.
Oh, fucking romancing characters too. You can romance characters, like
I have not got that far.
Oh really?
Is that just from repeatedly giving them honey?
Yeah, it is. Well, it's nectar, but yeah.
Nectar, because I've only been doing it so far. I was just trying to get everyone. I think I'm missing one boon, and I think I know who to get it from.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how. It's not to do with giving them nectar.
Oh yeah. So yeah, like the nectar like gives you one. There's like affinity tables basically, and like each character has like 5 like affinity levels you can go through. But like by the end, you have to give them like increasingly better gifts basically to get your.
Yeah, is that ambrosia in the end?
Yeah, ambrosia. Yeah.
So I've had that, and I still haven't used it in any way. Basically, are you saying that I can fuck Skelly?
I am really hoping Skelly's on the table. I've heard that like some of them are platonic like affinities. Like I hope Skelly's on the table for sex. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But no, I've heard that like I think only 3 or 4 of them end with like a romantic relationship, but the rest of them are like, you know, like, oh, we're best friends forever kind of a thing.
All I know is I really want to fuck Skelly now.
Yeah. He would never break.
He's a gentle lover. Mm-hmm. He's there to take it.
But the cool thing is like I genuinely am like trying to. It is encouraging because like I have if anyone knows me, I've fallen in love with Megara. And so I'm trying to romance her by like getting her as much, you know, nectar and stuff as I can. I want to see if that leads.
But
to
in those same runs, you're killing her repeatedly.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean that's the ideal like, you know, tsundere sort of relationship there, where you have to kill the girl many times.
Do you watch The Boys?
Yeah, I do. I've not watched the new episode yet.
I mean, if you're not watching the most recent, I won't say it's kind of spoilage, but there's a certain love scene in it that I'm thinking of, the way you describe your relationship with Meg.
Okay, I'm excited. I'm actually literally gonna watch it the second we hang up this. I was saving it, so.
You'll probably know what it is after I mention it.
Okay.
One of the things I really like is at the end of Tartarus, every time you approach the room, he tries to guess who he's gonna face in the room.
Oh yeah, because her sister's
He'll be like, oh, maybe it's Tisiphone.
Electo, and I can't remember who the other Fury is.
Tisiphone or Tisiphone, I don't know. The pronunciation.
on.
The one it just says murder.
Yeah.
And then he walks in, he's like, let me guess, murder? And then she's just like, murder.
It's Tisiphone.
Tisiphone, there you go.
There we go. Yeah, but I do love that, and I love how that boss fight changes every time, you know, depending on which sister you're fighting.
Yeah, have you tried using the writ of punishment that increases the strategies the boss fights have?
No, I have not done that. Oh, I remember. Yeah, you unlock that after you do a run.
I turned that on, and the first thing it did was when I walked into that room, I had to fight all three of them at once.
Holy shit! I super do not want to do that.
I say fight all three of them. What it does is that you fight one of them. You have to focus on fighting one of them like normal, but the other two keep popping up and doing their attacks as well.
Oh, okay.
It was a real fucker of a fight.
I'm scared of doing that. I think I'm probably, like I said, gonna try to. In my mind, my like 100% completion run is just gonna be like trying to get every weapon through.
That's like not just escaping with everyone. That'd be like, I think, maxing out the heat gauge of all the different writs of punishment with every weapon individually as well. Because it's separate. It's separate for each weapon. So like I've done it twice with a sword, but then none of that goes towards the progress I've made with a bow. Like from the bow, I have to start from like heat one again.
Yeah. I think that there is something here for both people who like, you know, a game with like an easy sort of sense of progression, and people, and like the Dark Souls people who just like crave punishment.
Like the progression is that it just essentially encourages you to keep redoing your runs, but gradually making it harder and harder, which then also appeals to Dark Souls fans, because Dark Souls fans think any game that isn't immensely difficult sucks ass and is for babies.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit for everybody. But like I think that's the thing that strikes me more about Hades than anything else is there is so much randomness to it. I never felt like I've had the same run twice in that game, and I've done like nearly 50 escapes at this point.
Right. Yeah. That's the thing is like I've not played it myself, but I've watched people play like Binding of Isaac like on stream and stuff, and like I just don't get it because it is kind of the same thing over and over again, you know?
Yeah.
And like this really keeps it like fresh, and. Also, I don't think we've talked about the music at all, but like, holy shit.
Oh, the soundtrack is so good. I've been listening to it like when I'm out of the house.
Yeah, it's Darren Korb might actually be the best like video game musician like alive right now. Like he's done all of the Supergiant games, so like Bastion, Transistor, and Pyre, and this like. And Transistor is one of the greatest soundtracks of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are big fans of Supergiant, and they're saying to me now they know how much I'm enjoying Hades. They're like, you need to go back and play their old games. I'm like, I've probably got them on Steam through Humbles, so I probably will look them up after I stop my mad love affair with Hades right now.
Yeah, Bastion's pretty good. It's like it's similar to Hades almost, but it's not like really roguelike. It's more of just like a linear kind of thing, but it is like an action game like that. But
yeah.
Transistor is really interesting because it's like turn-based, and it actually still utilizes a lot of the same stuff. Like you can play it turn-based or like live combat. It's really cool. They worked both systems into it, so it's a really interesting thing. I recommend checking out their other games, but yeah, I'm really psyched to see what they do next. There was a Reddit AMA actually recently with Supergiant where they were asked if they were going to be making more content for Hades, and they said like, yeah, we have some more updates coming, but there's not going to be any like separate DLC. Like we've already started working on our next game.
Yeah, that's understandable. I feel like there is a very complete game there. I think like maybe my only hope for future content is maybe like an endless run, where instead of escaping, it's just how many rooms can you fight through?
My hope that they bring in is just like maybe 2 or 3 more gods and like bring in sets of powers. Like I noticed Hephaestus isn't in here. I mean, like he could grant you fire powers very easily.
Yeah, like some more gods, just to add even more randomness into the absolute bucket load that's already there.
Maybe maybe Hestia can help you build a house. I don't know. I'm not in charge.
Can make some sort of forts, tower defense style.
Yeah, that could be cool.
Like the more randomness, the better. Like,
yeah, for
everyone
sure.
favours it different ways. I generally tend to go for the Huntress boons. I like getting critical, just absolutely buffing my crit chances, and hammers to get weird upgrades for my weapons. I think they're kind of the two I always go for.
Okay, yeah. I feel like recently my go-to has been to like max out all my god powers and like leave everything else behind.
Yeah, I try to just spec really hard into one thing instead of getting a mix of powers. Like I'll just try and get as many boons as I can early. But like, or like if I get Dionys, what's his name? The wine, god of wine.
Dionysus.
If I get his inflict hangover on basic attacks, then I'll go really hard on upgrading the amount of damage that does, because that can, if you get that to really high levels, you can melt stuff. I've like so many times just tore through the Hydra by having ridiculous amounts of hangover damage.
Like I've said, like the shield is not like the best one, but like if you add Poseidon's like knockback thing onto the shield like special, like throwing it and ricocheting it, like that's a better Captain America than the Avengers game is gonna offer you, honestly. It just feels so good.
Yeah, the shield throwing is really fun in that game. Probably the main thing I like about that. But I feel like the shield in general, unless you have to really, really buff the damage on that thing to like make it reasonably capable, even near like the third world. Whereas the sword, going ham on the sword, with especially its special attacks and the upgrades you can get for the special one, the Stygian, is just nuts. And like I said, my first escape attempt, I ended up absolutely melting Hades. Yeah, like generally all around, I'm absolutely in love with Hades. I did not expect, because it kind of came out of nowhere for me. I vaguely knew of the game, then it came out on Switch, then it was also the full release, and I just saw a lot of people, so I was like, okay, I'll just check this thing out. It sounds cool, and then it's like, oh, this is probably my Game of the Year contender right now.
Yeah, for me, for sure. Like I kind of thought nothing was gonna beat Ghost of Tsushima for me, but like this did. Yeah, I'm really stoked to see like more people getting into it, and like I hope that it gets recognized with a lot of awards and honors and stuff this year.
Yeah,
they did some great work on this.
It's fantastic. I can't recommend it enough right now. It's perfect because you can just pick up and play. Maybe just do a couple of runs, then take a break. You don't have to play for hours on end. It's totally a game where it's just like pick it up, just do a couple of escape runs, and then might move on to something else. It's a perfect time waster. Or on the other hand, I've had days where I've just played it the entire day with no breaks and just loved it from start to finish. I don't find that game is not getting boring for me anytime soon, which is a rarity because I can get bored very easily of games.
I was about to ask, like, is it running at 60 like smoothly and everything?
I think so. Like I've otherwise, other than a couple of crashes, I haven't seen any noticeable like frame drops, or it doesn't seem that bad. The only thing graphically that looks kind of weird is the Hydra, but I think that's just because it's very big compared to everything else. But like even then, it's not that distracting. I've been pretty happily just tearing my way through everything.
Being part of the master race and everything, and I've been playing it on PC, and it's at max settings, and I'm running it at 144 FPS, and I'm just like, I'm a god. I'm really a god. It looks so good. But yeah, I think I've heard the Switch one looks great too, so grab it wherever you can.
Yeah, it's a great game. Best game of the year for me, definitely. And you feel the same way?
Yeah, I do. I would recommend it. It's definitely my favorite game of 2020, so.
And I think regardless of how much I enjoy Yakuza, it's still going to be in my top 5 this year. There's no way. I can't see. There's maybe a few more games this year I'm interested in, but I can't see any. I can't see them somehow kicking Hades out of it.
We have to wait. No, well, the real key is we have to wait to see if Bugsnax makes it out this year.
Yes, we do. That is another game
then we'll know for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, that's. I guess that's all from us. Buy Hades. It's amazing. We've been having so much fun with it, and otherwise, subscribe to GameLuster. Check out our channel. Check out our website for tons of awesome content, and. You got anything left to say, Nirav?
No, just give us a follow. We got more good videos coming at you.
Yeah, hopefully I'll actually start making some soon. Maybe. I've got a script that's been sitting around for far too long, so. Anyway, bye Hades.